boss of talk. This is Charles Adler.
Email to charles@charlesadler.com. Charles, I sent this email to my family because after 25 years as a cop, it had some meaning. You have been a great supporter of the police, so I wanted to share this with you. The story is absolutely true, can easily be documented. And so he writes, last night, while working in my usual role as a police platoon sergeant, we were called to a VSA. That would be vital signs absent in the basement apartment of a house north of Keswick. The victim was 78 years old. A retired firefighter. He had served from 1959 to 1989 with the North York Fire Department. It no longer exists. It's been enveloped by the Toronto Fire Department. The victim had succumbed to a heart attack. His small basement apartment was very tidy. Upon the walls were tons of framed photos, pieces of history from 1940s and 50s baseball, hockey entertainers, horse racing, certificates of gratitude from the North York Fire Department, the City of Toronto, and the Pigeon Racing Club he belonged to after he retired. He had an organized collection of 78 RPM records from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Tommy Dorsey, Duke Ellington, Ella, Fats Waller. And he had the turntables to play them. The last album he played was Frank Sinatra. He was very well read. Books of history lined his bookshelves with an emphasis on Ontario and especially Toronto history. His specialty was the Avro Arrow. The huge limited framed edition print on his bedroom wall reflected his interest. Maybe sometime somewhere he saw the world's greatest plane fly. He was a huge supporter of our troops. An article from the Toronto Sun about the 1st Canadian Parachute Battalion sat on his desk. Pictures of cops and firefighters were found here and there. But as we found out, he had no next of kin. As the sergeant, it was my job to notify them. I had no one to visit, no one to see. No nieces, no nephews, no sons or daughters. He died alone. Satisfied with what I had seen, I left the detectives and constable on scene to await the coroner and have the body removed to its final rest. As I walked down the driveway, the constable followed me out and said, "Hey, Sarge, wait up. Can I ask you something?" "Sure, what do you need?" "Sarge, they're going to carry this guy out in a bag. All the neighbors are watching." He was a firefighter for 30 years. "Sarge, he's got no one. We can't let him go out like that. Can you find us a Canadian flag so that when they take him out of the house, we can lay it on the gurney when they roll him to the hearse?" Excuse me. It's 7:30 on a Tuesday night. Where to find a flag? Maybe the dollar store, the only thing open. And sure enough, they had one. Contrary to popular opinion, not everything at the dollar store costs $1 at this point. The cost was not really an issue. I bought the flag, took it back to the scene. The coroner released the body, and firefighter Robert Wilson was brought up from his apartment. Before he left the door, the flag was draped in its full glory across him. To honor the life of a man who was willing to give it at any time. For the 50 feet it took to take him to the removal vehicle, the neighbors watched in silent respect. The people from the funeral home tucked the flag secure and removed it with him. I expect it will be buried with him, too. For a short time, the time it takes to walk a body 50 feet, he was not alone. He was a firefighter, a hero. He was a Canadian. All it took was a flag to show it. Maybe it's time we find our heroes before their only honor comes from a dollar store. I want to thank Sergeant Rob Cullen for sending me that. Sergeant Cullen, thank you so much, sir.
No, you're welcome, Charles.
I just want to offer you a little bit of time to talk about your feelings about the event and sending us the email. And I apologize for being a little bit. It was moving. It was just very, very moving.
Well, thank you. I intended it to be that way, and the reason I sent it to you have been, as I said, a supporter of the police, and at times have taken us to task when tasks should be taken. And you know, we're not perfect, and if nobody takes us to task, then we've got to own up to it, and I have respect in what you do. It was a surreal thing. I mean, I work in a police service that has the best of equipment. Our training is light years ahead of what we had 20 years ago. We have procedures in place for dealing with things, and everything had gone to procedure at this point until that constable decided upon himself to call an audible. And, Sarge, can you get the flag? And this fella, I mean, if we would have been able to talk to him last week about these pictures on his walls, he had pictures on it. There was no titles under them. There was no quotes to what they were about. But he had pictures from racetracks of horses and their times, and they're in the winner's circle. And I'm not a horse guy. That could have been Secretariat. That could have been Man o' War. I don't know. But he would have had stories. He was a firefighter from 1959 to 89, an incredible period in Toronto's history. And this guy had stories to tell. He died without family, and he was in a basement. He was well cared for, and he took care of himself very well. Everything was neat and cataloged. Obviously a very intelligent man. But we've lost a hero, and we don't have his story. And there are tons of these heroes across this country. We're in a time when people want heroes, and we need heroes. We have them come down the highway of heroes, and I'm a huge supporter of our troops. But maybe it's time, before they lay down, that we find out who these heroes are and talk to them. Everybody's got them in their neighborhood. Let's find them. Let's talk to them.
All I want to say to that is amen. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Charles.
Appreciate it. Sergeant Robert Cullen in Toronto.
The truth.